issue of my AAA card and save some hard-earned cash.
I was happy to get a $100 rebate in the mail after the job was done.
I sure don't know how they do it, but I do know they get it done, and they get it done right. Broadway Transit.
Broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios, this is York's local sports show. Talking local sports on York's local sports station. Welcome to Game Day with GameTimePA on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Welcome to Game Day with GameTimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. I'm Brandon Stoneberg alongside Teddy Feinberg. We have Christian Arnold coming in. Coming into the house now. It's good to be out of the snow, Teddy. Finally out of the snow, most of us at least.
Yeah.
We kind of missed some sports. Some sports got some cancellations through the week, so not too many things to talk about. But we did a bunch of. We kind of cleaned the closet out a little bit. You know, it was kind of like a rainy day, snowy day. Let's just clean the house up a little bit. We got some late season analysis basically for basketball, stuff like that. We pumped some stuff out.
Yeah, the snow was unbelievable. Now I've been in New York for I'm approaching my 2-year anniversary here, and I've seen some snow, but I don't think I've ever been involved in snow like that ever.
Nah, they did. I mean, this one broke records. There was 30+ inches here.
Yeah, it was basically 3 feet. I want to know first time you're Christian. Christian's been here for I don't know what has it been 3 months, 4 months?
Almost 4 months now. Yeah.
What was your snow experience like? I need to know.
It was miserable. I hate the snow. I continue to hate the snow, and I mean, we got almost 3 feet of snow has made that even more of a solid fact that I do not like the snow. And then to add to your point, to rival traffic today trying to get down here rivaled anything I've seen on Long Island or in New York City.
The traffic is unbelievable. I mean, do you guys have any snow store, Brandon? I know it took you a while to dig out your car.
Yeah, I was parked in overflow parking. I tried to stay at my mom's house. I figured it was closer to the office. I can get in and out, quicker.
Yeah, she lives
I ended up getting snowed in for 4 days at my mom's place. But yeah, my car was in overflow, and the snow filled up to the sunroof. All you could see the first day was a sunroof. And I was like, oh, I'll let it melt. I'll let it melt tomorrow. And then when they plowed the roads, they plowed another, 3 feet of snow in front of my car. So I couldn't even get to my, there's 6 feet of snow between me and my car. Then it was underneath the snow. So yeah, it took a long time to get out.
The car looked like an igloo.
Yeah. So I worked from home for about 2 or 3 straight days, pumping out some stories. But we had some good stories. We had some big stuff. Andrew Lawson, Spring Grove football, committed to ODU.
Oh no, the work didn't stop.
Yeah, the work didn't stop. We kept.
It wasn't like going. Baseball players in the rain delay, like playing cards around the table.
If anything, we kind of increased the work a little bit more because we were all kind of in the office or at home pumping out some features. But we have some good stuff. We're going to talk about it today. We got boys basketball, girls basketball. Talk about a huge wrestling match last night between Southwestern and Spring Grove. Spring Grove has Southwestern's number in most sports this year, and we're going to talk about some basketball stuff at the end of the show. Some MVP picks. We have some best teams we've seen, best games we've seen, stuff like that, for sure. First off, though, game balls. Teddy, what do you got?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I could easily give it to Eli Brooks. I'm actually not going to, just because it's so obvious I could give it to him.
Yeah.
I feel like he's won it before.
You can give a game ball to Eli every day of the
That's
week.
exactly right. So I'm actually going to steer clear of that. I'm going to go swimming. I'm going to go Jacob Stoner, Dallastown swimming. He's at a pool record with a 51.82 second finish and 100 butterfly. They rolled Southwestern 144-37. He also swam on the winning 200 medley relay team, which also set another pool record with a time of 1 minute and 40 seconds, just over 1 minute and 40 seconds. I also want to give a shout out to Noah Ayers, a little Adams County action. He is about to hit the 1,000 point plateau. I know that we are going to divulge into some possible records that are going to be broken this week. I think he's like 3 or 4 points away.
He needs 3, and York High Trace Shifley needs 11, so we could have 2,000 point scorers tomorrow night.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, obviously we got some guys who have some milestones right on the horizon, but big shout out to Noah. And from a female standpoint, I don't want to rain anyone's parade. I hope you guys, well, if you did take them, fine, but hopefully we have some variation here. Maddie Zania Redmond, William Penn basketball. She scored 23 points and a huge 59-55 win over New Oxford. She scored 13 in the third quarter. Then she added 12 more in a win over Spring Grove. And really, it's a team award. I feel like whenever there's a William Penn female basketball player on that voting sheet, I just tend to lean toward them because they're having such an awesome year.
They are, and that win over New Oxford was huge. That pushed them into third place in division, and now they're all but locked in for the league tournament and districts as well.
They had some huge wins this year.
Yeah, they do. They beat Central too.
They beat Central. They battled Red Lion.
Yeah.
You know, they've had a really solid season. So we'll get more into that. Christian, you got anyone that you would like?
I mean, we could say we give a game ball to everyone who's dug us out of the snow the last 4 days.
Absolutely, I'm with you there.
Give us the snow.
You know what? I will give Eli Brooks my game ball because I mean, honestly, he's been one of the most dynamic basketball players I've seen since I've come to York. So I mean, he's been a fun player to watch night in and night out, and any game that he's on the court is usually a big performance out of Brooks.
He's a great player, there's no doubt. I mean, he's gotten a ton of coverage, rightly so. We don't really see him slowing down anytime too.
I'm giving one to my landlord's son, Torrey Thomas, at York Suburban. Hit 7 threes or 6 threes last night for York Suburban. Sophomore, 21 points, one of the top scorers from last night. He wasn't even kind of in rotation at the beginning of the season, kind of a slot guy here and there, and now all of a sudden he's dropping 21 points for the Trojans. So bright future ahead that sophomore. He's got a great stroke from outside. And then York Country Day, I got to see those guys for the first time yesterday, and they put on a show for me. Jordan Ray went for 24. Darius Brown went for 26. They scored 50 of the team's 70 points and just dominated High Point Baptist, who's number 6 or 7 in the districts. Right now, they're like the I put it in the story. They're the Warriors of Class A right now. I mean, they're beating everyone by a lot. The difference in rating points in the district system between them and the second place team is .17. That's the same gap between number 2 and number 15. That's how much of a difference. That's how much further ahead they are than the number 2 team. So they've been blowing everyone out. They got 2 additions from Northeastern, DJ Hamilton and Darius Brown. That have been a big boost for them. So I gave it to them. They're undefeated. They want to make a run in states, not just districts. They want to make a run in states, they said. So great season for Corey Stiles and the crew there.
They've obviously had a very good year. There's no doubt about it. Winners for our overall poll. Again, you can vote on our Athlete of the Week poll. Polls open Sunday at 6 a.m. Then they close Monday at 5. From a boys' standpoint, we had over 1,000 votes this week, which is always great. And the winner was, I mean, guess who? It was Eli Brooks. Eli dropped 28 points in a 65-57 over William Penn. Obviously, it's always, and this is an incredible stat to me. So our correspondent, Matt Hamilton, helps us with the Athlete of the Week. He wrote it was their first win over William Penn since 2001.
2001, 2002 they won. The last time before that was 94, 95, and that was in a forfeit win.
I just assumed he meant season sweep.
No.
You know,
we talked about that earlier this year and last year. Spring Grove wanted to get that monkey off their back. Yep. 26 straight losses to William Penn before this season. Now they've won 2 in a row.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So they've won twice over them this year, and Eli was a big reason in both of them. Again, it's a team effort, but certainly you can't discredit the 28 points. You can't discredit a slam dunk with 15 seconds to steal the deal. You can't credit, 9 buckets, going 6 or 7 from the free throw line. All those are fantastic stats. And then, of course, he followed up with 24 points against Southwestern on Wednesday. So, I mean, he's just been balling out really throughout the course of the season. And, of course, hey, look, Maddie Zania Redmond, William Penn, I mentioned the numbers. Big game and a win over New Oxford. when she buried 23 points there, 13 coming in the third, and then she followed up with 12 more against Spring Grove. And the Bearcats having a great season in girls hoops. So big ups to both of those players.
Yeah, she's only a junior, and they have her, and they have Steele and Baseline. I'm not sure how to say her name, but still, great roster, and we've complimented them quite a few times.
What do you credit their turnaround to? I mean, is it as simple as
I still haven't seen them in person, so it's hard to. It's 30,000 feet. We got to credit Coach Corbin with getting those girls together. I don't know. I mean, you go from 7-15 to I think they're 12-7 right now, 13-7, something like that.
I don't think there's a shadow of a doubt they're the biggest surprise.
Biggest surprise. China Steele is number 2 or 3 in the league in scoring, just like she has been the last couple of years. So you credit her consistency, credit Corbin's coaching, credit these other players like Baseline and Redmond was stepping up and definitely helping them out.
We also you guys put together your top 5 surprise teams, so far this season. We'll jump into that. We had a GameTimePA roundtable. It wasn't really a roundtable discussion because people were all snowed in, but everyone gave their opinion about things such as league MVPs, postseason sleepers, et cetera. We'll dive into that later in the program, as Brand alluded to. Lots of great stuff. Do we have anything else for segment 1? Or?
No, I think we're good. We'll talk about some hoops when we get back.
That sounds good to me. Game Day with GameTimePA.
Welcome to WOYK's high school basketball scoreboard for games from Wednesday, January 20th. We start with Northeastern at Eastern. Tony Nello has the report.
Northeastern Bobcats defeated the Eastern York Golden Knights 71-69. The Bobcats hit 10 three-pointers, 8 of which came in the first half. Eastern hit 9 threes of their own. Hitting 6 of those threes for Eastern was Evan Springer, who ended the game with 20 points, 14 of which came in the fourth quarter. For Northeastern, Donovan Maxfield hit 5 threes in the first half on 6 attempts. Leading all scorers was Eastern's Brogan Nicholas, who had 21. Fred Mulba led Northeastern with 19. Down 2 with 20 seconds left, Mulba stole the ball from Nicholas, giving the Bobcats a chance to end the game on free throws. They ended up missing both of them, but the Knights missed the 3 to win the game. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Tony Nello.
Dover visited West York. Cade Burdett reports.
Tonight's rivalry matchup between the Dover Eagles and West York Bulldogs was a heated one in the doghouse tonight. Student sections were going at it, and so were the teams. West York was looking for revenge on the early loss to Dover this season, and that's what they got. Kenton Meckley got it going early for the Bulldogs, shooting 5 for 7 from the field. The West York faithful praised the hustle from Meckley tonight, and he ended as West York's leading scorer with 20. And McCauley also added 19, shooting 3 for 4 from three-point range. For Dover, Naja Fink did all of the work and had 26 points with 11 rebounds. The Bulldogs would win by a final score of 64-50. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Cade Burdett.
Central clinched at least a share of the Division I title with a 52-49 win at Dallastown. Nathan Markey led with 19 as Central improved to 10-0 in league play. Susquehannock won 44-43 at Suburban. Josh Stoneberg had 15, including 4 threes. Eli Brooks netted 24, and Darren Gordon scored 17 as Spring Grove topped Southwestern 62-44. Trey Shiflett's 23 led York High to an 80-68 win over New Oxford. York Catholic rolled York Tech 70-36. Kyle Kraut scored 20 as Hanover beat DeLone 58-50. That's your scoreboard for games from Wednesday, January 20th.
People's Bank is happy to announce that you can now find our name in an exciting new place. The home of the York Revolution is now People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving York County for more than 150 years, committed to making it a great place to live, work, and play. That commitment continues at People's Bank Park with Revs games, concerts, events, youth sports, and more. We're proud to partner with the York Revolution, and we look forward to seeing you at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Eli Brooks of Spring Grove Basketball. Brooks was all over the court on Thursday, dropping 28 points and sealing a slam dunk with 15 seconds to play. He hit 9 baskets and went 6 for 7 from the line. It clinched Spring Grove's first season sweep of William Penn since the 2001-2002 season. He also scored 24 points against Southwestern on Wednesday. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Ashley Stone of Susquehannock Basketball. Stone scored 16 points, including 9 in the fourth quarter, to lead Susquehannock to a 51-45 victory over York Suburban on Wednesday.
Get your home ready for fall and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com. The York College Spartans play here. Catch York College basketball Basketball all season on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, your home for York's home teams.
And that's going to do it. The York College Spartans are 2014 CAC.
To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Red Lion Boys basketball coach Steve Schmale. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Welcome back to Game Day of GameTimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. Brandon Stonberg, Teddy Feinberg, Christian Arnold. We're going to talk boys basketball in this segment, all your local York Adams action. First thing we got to talk about in the boys, Northeastern already clinched a share in Division 2, Central clinched a share in Division 1. Division 3 kind of comes down to tomorrow night's game, York Catholic, Hanover at York Catholic. Our guy Christian Arnold should be at that one. Keep up with him on Twitter for some updates, But that's kind of the top tier. I mean, we asked Twitter, and they kind of said the same thing, Teddy. The top tier right now is Northeastern and Central. They're kind of on another level on the boys' side. They're number 1 and number 3, respectively, in District 3 class Quad A. So at the top of Quad A, which is normally dominated by the Harrisburgs and the Reddings, and the Cedar Crest and the Cedar Cliffs and the Hempfields and all them, we got 2 York Adams teams up there.
It'll be interesting come postseason time. I think Central York, and I say this with the utmost respect, I think that they've overachieved to some degree this year. So then the question becomes, what are they going to do in the postseason? I mean, I feel like I have underestimated them all year. I feel like whenever they're in a big game, I'm picking against them. I'll be the first one to admit it. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Every week on this radio show, I'm like, Spring Grove will beat them.
No, they've had huge wins. I mean, they beat Hempfield. They've beat Spring Grove twice. They beat York High. They've beat Cedar Crest and Cedar Cliff and all these other huge District 4 or District 3 Quad A teams. I mean, they don't have anything flashy really on the roster. Wagner's a great player. Then after that, they have a ton of good role players basically, and they play a ton of good defense. And they share the ball. I don't know. It's almost like watching. They're like the Spurs kind of.
I was going to say, even as good as he is averaging, I mean, he was averaging close to 18 points not long ago.
Yeah. He's like the Kawhi Leonard.
And he fits in on their team. It's not like he's this one-man show. I mean, he kind of fits the puzzle, if you will. So
they're like the Spurs, and Northeastern's kind of like the Warriors. Like the Warriors are the flashy up and down. That's Northeastern.
Yeah. But Northeastern, too, is also just a complete team. I mean, like the Centrals and the Spring Groves, they have a go-to guy, and then they have a lot of role players. Northeastern has a lot of kids that can just go out there, even if it's not Nuwano, if it's some of the other players on that team, and that bench is pretty deep, too. So you get them going. I think they're a team on the boys' side that could make a lot of noise in the postseason.
Well, you saw both those teams play earlier, Christian. Mm-hmm. What did you see in that particular game? Northeastern won that game, although it was a competitive game. Mm-hmm. What stood out in that particular contest when those two teams met?
I mean, from the Central side, Jared Wagner, 24 points, had a tremendous performance for them. I mean, he was clutch in a lot of big situations when that game was tight in the third and fourth quarter. But it was also a game where Northeastern started off, I mean, maybe not at their peak, but they were still playing good ball. That third quarter, they came out. John Eister said something in the locker room, and they really got those guys fired up, and they were firing on all cylinders. They were good from outside the perimeter. They were good under the net. And Kobe Nwando, obviously a big kid who works really well down low. So he's a strong player when you have him, inside the paint, and he gets a lot of work done down there.
No question.
Yeah, I like what Christian said about Northeastern being balanced, because if you take any of those guys off of Northeastern and put them somewhere else, they're the go-to guy for the other team. They kind of have 3 or 4 who could be go-to guys anyway, but they're all on the same team now. So between Maxfield, if he wasn't on Northeastern, could be the best player on several York Adams teams. Same thing with Reynolds and Coleman and Nwando, all those guys really.
Even if you look at what York Country Day has done, they have 2 kids from Northeastern. Imagine if they were still playing in Northeastern.
No, I you know what? I'm totally with you. That would be unreal if they were on that team.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, they would go 7 or 8 deep.
Yeah.
The fact that they're doing this, they've one loss all season, a kind of fluky loss to York High, but they did this after losing Darius Brown.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to be interesting because you did your bracketology.
I do.
And I'm going to be interested to see. I really want to see Northeastern New York High play again.
I think they'd be. I think they were a first round matchup as it stands right now.
I just don't know that one matchup. I don't know if it's just not a good matchup for Northeastern, if they just got off to a bad start in the game. Both teams kind of like to play similar, get up and down the court, force turnovers.
And to beat a press team, you press them. Isn't that the old coaches thing? You press a press team, and that's how you mess with them. And that's what both those teams like to get up and down the floor, and they like to press. So,
well, in rule number 1 against the press team, you can't turn the ball over. Right. And Northeastern really suffered in the first quarter in that game, and I think that hurt them. I'd just be interested to see them match up again.
They also have Fred Mulba playing point guard as a sophomore, and that was only he was in his first month as a starter at that point. So maybe they play again in the league tournament, which it looks like they could in the first round. To have that as a first round game in the league tournament is insane. That's gonna be awesome to watch. There's all kinds of good matchups though as it stands right now, and it looks like everything in my predictions on there. I had everything staying pat, like kind of how it is. I think Eastern plays York Catholic. I think is one of the matchups in there.
Very intriguing.
Spring Grove plays. I can't remember who Spring Grove plays on there, but Spring Grove plays Hanover. So we'd have Kyle Kraut versus Eli Brooks. West York would play Central. That's an old rivalry, and West York's gonna be a tough out. They're still a solid team. Same thing with York High. They're kind of flying lower than we thought they would, but they're going to be tough outs in the playoffs.
Couple teams I find highly intriguing in the postseason. First of all, let me get both of your thoughts on West York. Obviously, they've been a disappointment this year. I'm not a believer in flipping the switch. I think that you are what you are, particularly at this point of the year. It's not December anymore. We're entering February. Yeah. Do you think they could be a threat come postseason time?
I think we had them on one of our top 5 surprises, and they were one of the only ones we had as a negative one.
Right, it was a surprise, but not in a good way.
I mean, they haven't had a bad season. I don't want to characterize it like that.
I wouldn't either.
It's been surprising how. Yes, it's been surprising how. I mean, we expected them and Northeastern to really battle it out for the division lead, and it just hasn't played out that way. I don't think they've quite got the scoring they've hoped for from guys like Bailey. I know Macaulay's been producing relatively well. I think he's top 10 or top 5 in the league. So I just don't think they've been as effective. And even when they were going kind of through that December swoon, the start of the year, there was just certain things that weren't right. Maybe their fundamentals just weren't there all the way that maybe they thought they had down at the start of the season, and they were going back and trying to relearn that and repractice it once they got into December heading into January. So I just think they encountered a lot more difficulties. Maybe I don't want to say maybe they thought they were better than they were, but they maybe thought they were more prepared than they were for how tough the rest of the league was going to be this year.
And there was obviously chatter of them coming into the year. She's not sneaking up on anyone.
No, you weren't sneaking up. And their schedule was really tough. They're still 10th or 9th in the district right now because of how tough they have one of the toughest schedules in AAA because they play a ton of quad A schools. Right. Macaulay's kind of gotten even better than he was last year. He's kind of taken over games. Bailey kind of digressed, though. Bailey averaged 14, 15, 16 points a game last year. He's averaging 8 or 9 right now. So his shooting's just been off. Maybe it's a confidence issue. The team as a whole has not shot the ball well. I mean, they've shot under 30% more than any other team I've seen in person. Yeah. And I can't imagine why, because they didn't lose a ton of big shooters from last year. The guys they lost weren't sharp shooters by any means. They still have Lalick and Bailey there. So I thought that they'd still be okay with shooting, but I don't know. They've had some issues shooting. They've lost to teams they normally don't lose to. The Gettysburgs, the Easterns. Those are usually teams and Dover. Right. They lost to Dover and by 20 something. I mean, that's a pretty rough loss.
Ackerman was not happy after that game.
No, that was a tough one. Dover, on the other hand, is right on the border for districts. They're one of our teams. Red Line and Dover are both in the last spot in districts. West York's safely in right now, actually. So they're going to make it. They're going to be a tough out because they're still West York. At the end of the day, they still have Macaulay and Bailey and Ackerman coaching them. So.
And once you get into that postseason, it's kind of a toss-up. If you get rolling and you go into the postseason like that, you're probably in a better shape than a team that's been playing undefeated basketball going into it.
Talented team, experienced team, well-coached team.
Not a team you'll run into in the playoffs.
No. Eastern York was my second one. They've been playing great. They've won like 11 and 12, I feel like.
Yeah, their only loss was that 2-point loss to Northeastern when they had a chance to win it at the buzzer. I was at that one. Their student section is great. Their atmosphere is great. They turn our lights down for introductions. I got to
get out there for that.
Yeah, I haven't been out there in a while. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I got to come out
like
here.
A real production.
Yeah.
It was like Chicago Bulls 1993 out there.
I've only seen 2 teams in the league do that, the lights thing. I love it. New Oxford girls did it last year. I don't know if they still do. And Eastern boys do it.
You know what I wanted to do last year? I wanted to do a video of each team's like pregame induction. But it turned out they all were kind of the same.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of variation.
Yeah, but Eastern anyway is they're a very solid team. Brogan Nicholas can score with the best of them.
Yeah, he can.
He has a green light from anywhere on the court.
But he had support last night. I want to say they had a kid drop 16 and 12.
That's the thing. When I saw him, Evan Springer came out of nowhere, dropped 20 plus. Achterberg is a great inside-outside guy. I mean, he can get down there in the boards, he can get down there in the post and score. And they have a great inside-outside game with Achterberg and Nicholas. And then they have Springer, another sharpshooter on the outside. They have Woods, who's kind of an in-between guy, kind of a driver and shooter almost. So they have. I mean, they're pretty stacked. I mean, there's not a weak link really in their lineup. And they gave Northeastern a fight. I mean, they started off 3-3, and now they're 14-4, 15-4.
They've been on fire. I'm going to be interested to see how our teams do in the postseason. I feel like some team, and I take nothing away from what they've done, but it'll just be interesting in that postseason play how your Centrals, how your Northeasterns do. Again, Central's just been unbelievable. I feel like Central wins every time out. It's unreal. And they have one loss this year?
They have two. They lost to Carlisle or Reading, one of those top teams, and then they lost to both of them were like that.
I thought their offseason losses were going to kill them.
Yeah. Spring Grove, I think, only has 2 losses. Both were the Central. York High Northeastern only has 1 loss. That was the York High. Northeastern is behind Central in the districts, though, because of the schedule, the strength of schedule. Central's played all big Quad A schools. Northeastern plays in Division II, which is all AAA schools. So Northeastern being down there with Gettysburg and Eastern kind of hurt them.
Who do you think can make a playoff run?
We said this. We had this in the poll. I had Your Country Day because they're undefeated and just so much more dominant.
I think Miller mentioned them too.
Yeah, they're just so much more dominant than anyone. I talked to them yesterday. They think a district title is, if they lose in districts, is a disappointment, and a run in states is really where they have their mind set on. So I think Your Country Day is the best chance. I think Central Northeastern definitely can make a run. Eastern, I think, can make a run. York Catholic will be pretty solid in Double-A. Spring Grove's going to have the best player on the court pretty much anytime they step on the floor, so you can't ever count them out. I think the best chance York Country Day, and then I'd say Northeastern or Central.
Christian, I mean, at least on the girls' side, and we'll hop into them next, but it looks like you said Central York. You thought they could do some damage.
Yeah, I think in the same way Northeastern is very deep, Central is the same kind of way. They have a dynamic duo, and Saxon and Valencic, they have a great three-point shooter in Sepik off the bench, and their bench is pretty deep too. And so it's just a very complete team that I think has only lost 2 games this season.
No, they lost to York High and Redline, I think.
Right, one team that's, I believe, undefeated in their own division, and then William York High, which is obviously the Cinderella story for them. So, I mean, they're a very complete team as well.
You mentioned the West York boys as being kind of the quote-unquote surprise, Christian, but again, a surprise not necessarily in a flattering way.
Right.
I mean, a 500 record, we expected a bit more. Brandon, on the boys' side of things, do you have any 1 or 2 surprise teams from this past year in the midst of the season?
Yeah, I think we had York Catholic boys on there.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know. We knew that they were getting a couple of transfers, but we didn't know how good those transfers were because they didn't really play much.
They've been great
at York High. And then Malik Martin, DeAndre Davis have both been great additions, and Fortune stepped up his game. He went from being an 8 or 9 point a game guy last year to he dropped 30 a couple times this year. So. And they had a rookie head coach playing Claiborne, so we thought it'd be a transitional year. They lost their top scorer. They won 11-13 anyway. They have a new coach. They have a bunch of transfers. We didn't know how it was all going to mesh together, but now they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in Double-A. So I think they were up there. I think they were one of the top ones for sure. Central, like we said, was up there. We figured Eastern would be a lot better. We figured Northeastern would be there. I think those are the boys ones. I think we had a couple other ones in the girls we could talk about in the next segment.
We'll definitely hop in there also. Before we go, MVP on the boys' side, and it looks to me. Well, go ahead. Why don't you guys talk about it? Obviously, one of you took Eli Brooks.
Yeah, I took Brooks. We did the Twitter poll, and we got 600-700 votes on that, and Eli Brooks ran away with it. I think he had 40-something%. But I mean, it's just hard to argue against him. He's the most dominant player we have right now. He's scoring at will. He's hitting game winners. If you took him off that Spring Grove
team, carrying the team.
Yeah, they have Darren Gordon, but if you take Eli Brooks. Darren Gordon, those other guys, that's a 6-7 win team, on a good day. So I think Eli Brooks for sure.
It's incredible how that program has turned around. What about you, Christian?
I went with Jared Wagner from Central, and it was kind of the underdog pick because I think Wagner doesn't necessarily get the recognition sometimes because he plays. Guys like Eli Brooks and Kobe Nwando kind of overshadow him.
Wagner's not a flashy guy.
Right, he's a team guy. He comes up clutch, and I've seen him come up clutch the few times I've seen him out there on the court. And he's a smart ball player, so he knows what he's doing. And I think kind of in the same way Eli Brooks, but I even think Brooks has a little bit of advantage. He has Gordon. for Central, it's Wagner and it's everyone else. So I think Jared Wagner is really carrying that team to the success they had.
It's interesting with Wagner, too. I think coming into the year, Brooks obviously had the bullseye, right? The one that we talked about, everyone knew about him. But Wagner in his own type of pressure, they lost so many guys, and he knew he had to step up coming into the year. And he's really, again, we knew Brooks was going to be great. Wagner's really taking his game to another level.
And it was cool to see, too, because he was kind of the second in command last year behind Saxton. Sam Saxton was still there and having a great year. He's at Lemoyne College now. But before the year, it was going to be Wagner and Gindrich, and then Gindrich didn't come out. So I talked to Wagner before the season. It was like him and a bunch of guys. It was Sheeler joked that they kind of had 1.5 starters back, because Nathan Markey was kind of like a sixth man last year, and they brought him back. But even Wagner kind of knew before the season that he had to step up into a big leadership role. He put that on his shoulders, and he didn't crumble under.
No,
he stepped up in a huge way, had a great year. And my favorite part about him is he's good for 4 or 5 steals every game, and he locks down or he guards the best player every night. He guards Nwandu. He guards Brooks twice a year.
That's pretty awesome.
He guards Montrell Morgan twice a year. He guards the other team's best player every night. And he's still out there scoring 27 points.
And from a record standpoint, he's on the best team.
And they're number 1 in the district right now.
And it's kind of amazing because I think in the discussion we always think Spring Grove, and then Central kind of falls to the wayside, but it kind of gets overlooked. And I think in the MVP discussion, the same thing. It's Brooks, Morgan, Kobe Nwandu. And then there's Jared Wagner, who's done all of this with the immense pressure on his back, kind of under the radar.
They're truly the Spurs of the YAIA.
Yeah, that's kind of what they are. Yeah, I'd give Northeastern to Golden State, and I give Central the Spurs.
Yeah, they're flying under the radar, but
and we got to go. Spring Grove's kind of like the Thunder because they got the two guys. There you go.
That's so classic. It's going to make for really interesting postseason play. We'll see how things shake out. And I'm sure Central, if anyone's listening to the show, they love to hear me or anyone else count them out because they've been getting counted out all year from the get-go, and they just keep winning ball games. So good for them. For those wondering, we did a Twitter poll. This was our staff writer's idea, specifically Brandon. So, obviously boys MVP. So far this year, 4 guys made the ballot. It was Wagner, it was Brooks, it was Nwandu, it was Kyle Kraut. Brooks got 46% of the vote, 639 total. Brooks got 46% of the vote. Nwandu got 25, Wagner 23, Kraut got 6%. We will talk on the girls' side, our MVPs, our surprise teams, and look at the playoff picture next on Game Day with GameTimePA.
All right, let's try this one. Wherever you are, WOYK is... That blows. How about... Wherever you are, WOYK is watching. No, that's creepy. Let's try this. Take Sports Radio 1350 on the go with the new WOYK mobile apps. Available for download today. Bingo. The new Sports Radio 1350. Available anywhere via the WOYK mobile apps. First in York, first in sports.
Did you know that Shipley Energy can take care of all your energy needs? From heating oil and propane to providing your home with electricity and natural gas. We also provide heating and air conditioning service and installation. All of your energy needs are under one roof at Shipley Energy. To learn more, visit ShipleyEnergy.com. Call 855-4-SHIPLEY and don't forget to ask about our $100 rebate. Shipley Energy. Energy for life.
The puck drops here.
Wellman, the shot, score!
Sports Radio 1350, your home for Hershey Bears hockey.
Casey Wellman has won it in overtime for Hershey.
And the Washington Capitals.
Here in a shot, they score!
Defending the Den and rocking the red all season. Catch the Bears and the Caps on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Eli Brooks of Spring Grove Basketball. Brooks was all over the court on Thursday, dropping 28 points and sealing a 65-57 win over William Penn with a slam dunk with 15 seconds to play. He hit 9 baskets and went 6 for 7 from the line that clinched Spring Grove's first season sweep of William Penn since the 2001-2002 season. He also scored 24 points against Southwestern on Wednesday. Play. And this week's Shipley Energy Girl Student Athlete of the Week is Ashley Stone of Susquehanna basketball. Stone scored 16 points, including 9 in the fourth quarter, to lead Susquehanna to a 51-45 victory over York Suburban on Wednesday.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com. Hey, sports fans, great news. Now you can listen to Sports Radio 1350 anywhere with the new WOYK mobile apps. Stranded in Siberia? No problem. Kidnapped by wolves? It's not as bad as you may think. Wherever you are, WOYK is with you on the brand new mobile apps. York's only local sports station just went mobile and global. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security, because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm West York boys basketball coach Bill Ackerman. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Welcome back to GameDay, GameTimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. Brandon Stummer here with Teddy Feinberg and Christian Arnold. We were talking some spring sports in the or a little baseball quick talk there. We'll get to spring sports later on in a few weeks. But right now we're talking girls basketball. Teddy, what do you got for us?
Well, obviously we have Susquehanna and Redline just wrapping up division titles this year. That clearly was a big deal. I think Redline, we knew they were going to be a great team coming into the year, and they did not disappoint. Susquehanna, I guess we'd say, I don't know if surprise is the right word. I think we knew they could be good, and D2 was wide open, right?
Yeah, I mean, D2 was wide open because we knew West York would probably take a little bit of a step back. You know, West York lost 2 all-league first-teamers, and then they lost some other scores. So we figured York Suburban would probably usurp some of the power there, and then maybe Susky, who went 500 last year, bring everyone back. Maybe they step up a little bit, but they've gone above and beyond. They have 2 losses this year, and both were Central.
They've definitely gone above and beyond. DeLone Catholic and York Catholic, I believe they have a big game on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if it's Friday or is it early next week?
It's Friday, I believe,
tomorrow.
yeah.
So the division basically comes down to if York Catholic can win, then they kind of share the title. If not, DeLone wins that one. And this is, I mean, that rivalry's been there for a while, and DeLone hasn't been able to get past York Catholic. York Catholic has 9, 10 straight district titles now. So it's always been like York Catholic 1A and DeLone kind of 1B. But and this year we didn't think it'd be the year to do it. I mean, they lost Novak to injury, they lost Shipley to injury for a while. Comley graduated, who was an all-everything player. We figured this isn't the year for DeLone, and then all of a sudden they come out and step up. I mean, Laughlin's had a great year. Vincent's had some big games. Singleton's had some big performances. Shipley's come back from injury and played well. They've got a very balanced performance, and for Eckenrode to keep that ship afloat during the injuries and during Comley's obviously graduation, a big season for him.
It'll be interesting to see that game on Friday. Something tells me York Catholic smells some sort of payback. They missed some big free throws down the stretch of their last game. It really could have gone either way.
And Bayhoff got locked down. She only had 5 points last time.
No question. She did not play well. And in the words of Rudy Tomjanovich, never underestimate the heart of a champion, because they have some championships under their belt.
The one thing I'm kind of curious to see about some of these games, especially lately, like this York Catholic game, is just how much the snow has impacted them. Because, I mean, over the weekend they didn't have much practice time because there's been so much school cancellation and delays. You have to wonder how much time they've had to get back into the gym and get back into the swing of things.
That's a great point. There's a lot of big games on Friday, and for a lot of these teams, they haven't played in a week, and you wonder what type of an impact that will have.
I was talking to Troy Sowers this week, and they haven't. York High hasn't played basketball since I think last Wednesday. It's been like a 9-day hiatus for them by the time they step on the court.
It's a long time in the middle of a season.
Yeah, especially when you're coming down the stretch and a playoff push. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these guys respond, or some of these girls too.
There's no doubt about that. Bracketology, obviously we have some interesting teams to throw around, and the buzzword has been William Penn, so we're going to stay right there. What are their chances in terms of the YAIA tournament, and then, of course, in the district tournament as well? Where do you see them landing if they land safely?
I think right now in districts they're pretty safely in, and they might get one of those prelim winners, so they have a good shot to win the first round. I think after that they'd have to play a 3 or 4 seed, so they'd play a Central or a Red Lion most likely, but they've played well against them before already. I can see William Penn winning 1 or 2 in districts. I think I can see them winning 1. Their first round matchups in the York League or in the league tournament will be pretty tough because they're kind of like that wild card, that 8th spot, so they get the number 1 seed or whoever it is. I can see them winning 1 or 2 in districts, though. I think districts. I mean, there's 18 teams in Quad A that make it, so you're playing I think they're like a 12 right now. You're going to end up playing like a 16, 17, then you're going to play like a 4 or 5. So I think there's a good shot for them.
That would be unbelievable. Just to see them have success in the postseason, I think would be great. What about D2? We have the Warriors, we have Suburban, we have West York. And you right here, the only drama really is where the Trojans hold on the 2nd spot. And get a potential first-round matchup with Red Lion. York Suburban Red Lion could be an interesting playoff matchup in the YAI tournament.
Yeah, Suburban Red Lion would be good. I think there's another chance Suburban, depending on where they fall, can play DeLone in a rematch of last year's very good league tournament game. Because of postponements and the way the schedule's set up, York has played so much fewer games than the rest of them that they're going to – I mean, they played 2 less division games, so – There could be a lot of changing still, a lot of moving parts to Division 2 of who wins. But Suski's in the driver's seat. They can wrap it up tomorrow with a win or a loss by Suburban.
We obviously talked about DeLone and York Catholic and how that's a big game coming down the stretch. We talked MVP race on the boys' side of things, so let's do it on the girls' side of things now. And
this was much.
I was just gonna say this is not nearly as clean cut as clear cut.
It wasn't even clean cut of who we put in the top 4 in the ballot itself. Like we couldn't even narrow it down to 4. That's how many.
Well, let's just give the fans an idea on who is in the ballot. Obviously, Courtney Dimoff is in there. Jordan Kloster's in there. I understand why you guys did it. They've had a very underwhelming year on the court, but I mean, her specifically, individually, she's had a great year. Ashley Stone's on the ballot, and obviously Kate Bayhoff is on the ballot as well. Fans voted on that, and we'll reveal their votes here shortly. But who did you guys go with personally?
I mean, I went with Ashley Stone, and it's kind of the same criteria that I gave to Jared Wagner. And when you look at that team, when you look at Susquehannock, they've been very successful. But Ashley Stone has been really the key factor into their success this year. And I think it also goes a long way where I've talked to their coach a couple of times, and he said, not exactly, but to kind of paraphrase him, he said, the way Ashley plays kind of indicates the way the team is going to play. And I think that's got to be a major factor into just the thinking of how successful this team has been, because, I mean, Ashley Stone's a great player, but when you're saying that she is one of the key reasons on that, publicly, that says a lot of how much confidence you have in Stone and how important she is.
I mean, if we're going by the literal definition of most valuable player and the coach comes out and says that, well, I mean, you can make your argument based off of that point very easily. And again, you can't argue. One thing you can't debate is a team championship, an overall team success, and she's obviously had a lot to do with that. She's had an incredible season. That team sits at 17-2 overall and 12-0 in district. Again, kind of a wide open district coming into this year, but you know what? York Suburban's not a bad basketball team by any stretch. Wide open doesn't mean there's bad teams. York Suburban has a good basketball team. West York, another very successful season for them. So,
there's a lot of good basketball teams in that division, and I remember the York Suburban Susquehannock game. It was a week or so ago, where I mean Stone wasn't playing her best in that first half, and I don't think she had a point, or she had like 2 or 3 the first half. She comes out and she finished the game with 16, and Susquehanna comes out with a close win. So I mean, I think that was just a microcosm of just how successful she has been and how that's contributed to the success of the team.
She lights the proverbial fire, if you will. Brandon, what about you? What direction is you going?
I can see Christian's argument, because I think if you take Stone off of Susquehannock, we're not talking about them right now, like at all. I went
again, and for the literal definition, there you have it.
She's the most valuable. I went with Jordan Kloster. I think she's the best all-around player in the league. I think she doesn't get much attention because she's on a 4 or 5 win team. I mean,
this is like the debate: like, should Tejada or A-Rod win the MVP when A-Rod was on the Rangers, but Tejada drove the A's to the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, Kloster's not going to the
baseball. We're talking basketball. Sorry, Brandon.
Kloster's not going to the postseason, but I mean, we've gotten box scores where the team scored 37 as a whole. She scored 33 of them.
I feel like we had a box score like that every night.
Yeah, I mean, she's got to be scoring 80% or something out of the team's points. So I think obviously if she's on the team, they're not even they're easily winless.
I hate to say I feel for the girl, but I'm going to say this right now. They've had a coaching change midseason. Their year was kind of doomed from the start, and she's carried them from day one. She's almost this year's version of China Steel, from last year.
Yeah, they made the league tournament last year, made the first round loss, but this year they've struggled. But I think she's the best all-around player. It's going to be fun to see her next year. Her and D-Moff are both going to Millersville to play together, so that could be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
I went with Closter. Christian went with Stone. I think Zach and Matt both went with D-Moff from Red Lion. Bayhoff was on there. The vote was very close on Twitter. We could have put Saxton on there. We could have put either the Southwestern girl, Shipley, or Guyman on there. We could have put there was just
It took us a couple minutes in the office to really hammer down on these are the girls who at the very least deserve to be in the poll, let alone get a vote.
China Steel's another one you could have thrown on. I mean, there was a ton of girls you could put on that.
Well, and the bottom line is, I'm reading the results right now, and Zach says himself, would Red Lion be 17-1 without Demo? Well, probably not.
They have a pretty solid roster past her, but I don't think they'd be as good as they are.
17-1 though.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Twitter's vote was pretty close though.
Yeah, no, it was. Now Stone actually won on Twitter, 29% agreeing, and no arguments there. Closter got 27% of the vote, Bayoff at 24, Demoff at 20. So
all within 9% of each other.
Yeah. 490 total votes.
And we really could have thrown Saxton in there. Thinking afterwards, she probably definitely could have been on there as well. But
this is awesome.
Yeah, we really threw around. We spent a good couple minutes trying to just narrow it down, and I blame Twitter if anything.
Yeah, but Twitter should have let us have more options.
Totally blaming Twitter on this issue. I'll ask you guys also, since we did on the boys' side, we'll get to the girls' side as well. Surprise team this year in your mind?
Susky and William Penn.
Yeah.
I don't think again.
William Penn, I think, is the go-to choice in this case.
And the thing is that it's funny because the surprise team on the boys' side may not have been clear cut, but this one's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, this one's. I think those were the two we had for the girls. I think it was Susky and William Penn. Susky, like we said, went 500. They brought everyone back, so we knew they'd be good. But this good is just we didn't expect this. I predicted before the season that Suburban would be 1 in that division, West York would be 2, and Susky would be 3. So they've already proven me wrong. William Penn, we didn't have them on the radar before the season started, and they've come out and done really well. I think those were the two biggest surprises. I think we asked who the best team was so far too. I think Central won that one. Central and Red Line have been neck and neck most of the season for best team. DeLone, if you would ask me midseason, they're the biggest surprise because if you would have told me before the season that they lost Conley to graduation, Shipley and Novak to injury, and they'd still be in first place in the division, I would have said you're crazy.
No, the reality is you probably could look at each division and come up with a legitimate surprise in each one when you consider William Penn, Susky, and DeLone.
Yeah.
That kind of answers your question right there.
Yeah, I think those are the biggest surprises. As far as making a run in postseason, I agree with Christian. I think Central probably has the best chance to make a run in postseason just because of how balanced they are.
Yeah.
I think Red Line is great, but if D-Moff's having an off night, what happens to that team? But they've had some close games where I thought they could have blown some teams out. But they're still solid. They're still going to play at home for a while until they get to the Giant Center. So they definitely have a chance. Susky and Suburban are right there at the top of AAA too, so they'll have a good shot.
Yeah, and they're not spring chickens either. Red Line has a very experienced coach in Dom Demoff. It's not like they're going to go in there with. Would it be their eyes wide open or their eyes shut? Either way, they're going to know what they're going to know what they're stepping into. That's what I'm trying to say.
And then in AA, York Catholic's won 10 in a row, so they're going to be right there with Coach Bankos, the Loans at the top there. So I think all of our teams are all the top teams from York Adams. I think have a decent shot of winning some games in the postseason.
It'll be really interesting to see how things shake out. Really looking forward to the postseason. Again, we have a really good lineup of games tomorrow night. The first Friday, really back from our Snowmageddon, if you will. So. Everyone keep your eyes peeled on GameTimePA.com for the latest news, notes, and analysis. We'll have live updates throughout the course of tomorrow evening as well. We're still coming back for segment 4, Game Day with GameTimePA here on our GameTimePA live stream. Thanks.
People's Bank is happy to announce that you can now find our name in an exciting new place. The home of the York Revolution is now People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving York County for more than 150 years, committed to making it a great place to live, work, and play. That commitment continues at People's Bank Park with Revs games, concerts, events, youth sports, and more. We're proud to partner with the York Revolution, and we look forward to seeing you at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Waking up with the Steve Zabin Show.
I went to bed. I fell asleep because I couldn't stay up any longer. And in a weird way, Solly, I kind of like waking up and finding out Who won? It's almost like a little bit of Christmas on random mornings.
And you don't have to stay up and watch. It's just as good.
The Steve Zabin Show on Yahoo Sports Radio.
And I feel fresh this morning. Now, if I didn't have to wake up so early, of course I'd stay up late and I'd sleep until whenever. But given the choices, it's not the worst way to go because here's a little game I now play, Scott. It's the game of, okay, did I dream that happened? Or did I somehow wake up and find out that's what happened? This morning, I dreamt
that Kentucky
or maybe
won.
Oh, yeah. I dreamt they won in double overtime.
That didn't happen.
Join me, Steve Zabin, mornings at 6 on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Get ready for winter now and save big on your heating oil or propane costs. Call today to schedule your first fill. And don't forget to ask our energy advisors about the right money-saving plan or budget to fit your lifestyle. Lock in your rate and protect your price all winter. Our price-protected customers save an average of $325 per year. Visit ShipleyEnergy.com or call 855-4SHIPLEY to schedule your next heating oil or propane delivery. Shipley Energy, energy for life.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Eli Brooks of Spring Grove Basketball. Brooks was all over the court on Thursday, dropping 28 points and sealing a 65-57 win over William Penn with a slam dunk with 15 seconds to play. He hit 9 baskets and went 6 for 7 from the line to clinch Spring Grove's first season sweep of William Penn since the 2001-2002 season. He also scored 24 points against Southwestern on Wednesday. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Ashley Stone of Susquehannock Basketball. Stone scored 16 points, including 9 in the fourth quarter, to lead Susquehannock to a 51-45 victory over York Suburban on Wednesday.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit ShipleyEnergy.com.
Since 1964, York Area Sport Night has been an honored tradition giving local sports fans, young and old, the chance to meet their sports heroes. To shake a hand, get an autograph, snap a photo, join us on Thursday, February 11th for the 52nd Annual York Area Sports Night held at Heritage Hills Golf Resort and Conference Center. Sponsored by M&T Bank, S&H Express, Shipley Energy, Apple Automotive Group, Gladfelder Insurance, E.K. McConkey Insurance, RBC Wealth Management, and Sports Radio 1350. Join our great local partners and a host of others with 2016 sponsorships still available. Visit YorkSportsNight.com. Guests at this year's event include Jay Paterno, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, Hall of Famer Tony Perez, Hall of Fame lineman Bob Lilly, York Revolution pitcher Stephen Penny, and Penn State Nittany Lions, including Dallas Town's Ben Line. Get your tickets today. Visit the Orioles store at the York Galleria for tickets to the autograph session. For tickets to the celebrity reception and silent auction, visit YorkSportsNight.com. York Area Sports Night, a York tradition since 1964.
Hi, I'm York High Boys basketball coach Troy Sowers. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Welcome to Game Day with GameTimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. I nailed it again. I went the whole show without fumbling.
You've been
the
smooth
intro.
today.
I'm pumped.
It's a huge, groundbreaking moment for the program.
We don't have Zach Miller. We don't have Andy Meese. So we're going to do our best to give you a quick wrestling synopsis of what happened last night. Southwestern went to Spring Grove. Division title on the line, I believe, Teddy. Division 1 title on the line. Southwestern took a big early lead, according to Zach Miller. I think they went up 18-0, something like that. They got hurt by a couple forfeits that they had to do. It came down to the wire. Zach said it was the coolest atmosphere he's ever been in for a high school sporting event, which got Spring Grove and Southwestern fired up. Apparently the student sections were pretty jacked up. They were going at it. He called it, I think he said deafening at one point, which is pretty cool for a wrestling match in high school to hear it that loud.
I wish I was there.
It sounded pretty hyped. And one kid did the dab after winning.
Somebody dabbed, or as Zach called in the story, a trendy hip hop dance.
Yeah, I mean, Zach really, I felt like I was reading something out of Wikipedia.
A trendy hip hop dance done by the kids these days.
Yeah. So, no, obviously a great rivalry. No love lost there whatsoever.
They hate each other. But during football season, wrestling season, the funniest week on Twitter when you're actually following these kids is the week before Southwestern Spring Grove, because they say some funny stuff about each other and they despise you. They generally don't like each other.
Wow. That's a good rivalry right there.
Yeah, it's cool to see. But anyway, Spring Grove came out on top last night.
They did. I mean, Greg Brand said it was either 18-0, maybe even 21-0. They had the early hole. Two Southwestern forfeits obviously hurt, but Spring Grove made a late charge. They win 31-24. Incredible atmosphere, and it wraps up a YAIAA D1 title for Spring Grove. A title I think Southwestern won last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Southwestern won last year. They kind of took a little step back because they lost Seth Janney, who was like an all-state type wrestler last year. They lost him. I think I saw in the districts today they're like 10-5. Spring Grove I think is undefeated or one loss, or like 9-1 or something like that. The cool part, though, as Zach pointed out today, is that if district started today, they would meet again in the first round, which would be a round 2 of that would be, in the district stage.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I have to go.
Yeah. We gotta get there to live stream it, do some videos and something.
Newcomer to the state, I'm telling you this right now, the state wrestling tournament is unreal here.
Yeah. I mean, if they're half as exciting as the one last night that Spring Grove participated in, count me in. That sounded awesome.
Well, you've obviously been to the Hershey Park Arena.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you haven't been to Hershey Park Arena. You've been at Giant Center.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now I believe the District 3 tournaments at Hershey Park Arena, Giant Center hosts the state tournament. I believe that's how it works.
Yeah, I believe so. I know last year some districts were at Milton Hershey too. They have a huge gym, but it's just
incredible crowds, incredible atmosphere, people from all over, and there was like crazy snow last year, and they still packed the place out.
It was crazy. I mean, basketball has a good crowd, football has a good crowd, but there's wrestling. I mean, they pack the entire gym and they're loud the entire time. And it's a huge adrenaline thing. Like I didn't know anything about wrestling coming into last year, and cover playoffs was a ton of fun because it's just one-on-one, mano a mano. who's stronger, who's smarter, and the place is going crazy for you the entire time. It's just it's I think 3-minute rounds of 3, or 2-minute rounds of 3. So you go 6 to 9 minutes, and I don't know when somebody gets a pin or gets a big slam or something like that. It's the noise level is insane.
Yeah, it is insane, and it's super cool. And honestly, that match last night sounded unbelievable. I mean, for Spring Grove to come back the way they did, to clinch the title in the process, if they can meet again in the postseason. I got to think in this area, I was saying to Brandon during commercial break, and frankly, you guys are probably know better than I do because you're in the trenches, I like to say, but that has to be a top 3 rivalry in our area. That particularly wrestling. I'm saying but even across the board in all sports, it's pretty big.
They get fired up for like a girls' soccer game for field hockey. And they don't like each other.
Yeah.
When I was working at Hanover, I got to see that firsthand. That was always the most entertaining rivalry to me. I'd put them top 3. I think Spring Grove Southwestern is a top 3 rivalry. I think Dallastown Redline is the same way.
Of course.
Yeah, I got to see Dallastown Redline basketball rivalry game, and I mean that was hyped as well. That was a good atmosphere. Both student sections were loud, and I mean there wasn't a lot of love loss after.
No, tons of history there.
Yeah, their schools are separated by like 2 or 3 miles. They didn't like each other either. I think that one's definitely up there. Central York High used to be up there. I think they kind of slid off lately. Yeah, so I would go with Southwestern Spring Grove and Dallastown Redline as the top 2. An underrated one down there is Hanover DeLone. They really don't like each other either.
No, they don't.
And that's a public-private, classic battle. They're a mile and a half apart from each other.
They don't like each other.
No, that's another good one.
Let's just jump over to b-ball games tomorrow. Give the fans kind of an idea on what we are looking at. We mentioned the DeLone Catholic York Catholic girls game. On the boys' side of things, Hanover goes to York Catholic. They have a big basketball game that will decide the championship in D3. I believe it's Central William Penn, if I'm not mistaken.
Central William Penn. I'll be at that one tomorrow. That's a big one. Trey Shiflett's 11 points away from 1,000. William Penn desperately needs a win. Central's trying to stay on top in the district. A big rivalry in basketball. If we're talking basketball rivalry, Central William Penn's still up there. Football's slidden off recently with how bad the teams have been, but that's a big rivalry. It'll be at William Penn. They'll be fired up, so that'll be a good one. We have there's just a ton of just good games across the board for sure tomorrow night. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I even know that Gettysburg Northeastern girls has some intrigue. West York girls have a big basketball game. Are they playing Susky tomorrow?
Either Susky or Suburban. They play one of the top 2 teams, and I know Gettysburg Northeastern boys is another big one.
That's what I meant. I meant the boys game.
Yeah, that one's a big one. Yeah, there's good games all across the board. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Any closing thoughts from either one of you guys?
Just stay tuned tomorrow night. I mean, it's going to be a lot of good basketball action. Tonight, if you're a wrestling fan, Biglerville, Bermudian, Division 3 on the line. That's another big rivalry. Those guys out there on the farms, their farms touch each other. They got a border rivalry out there. That'll be a good one. Zach Miller's out there. This has got to be
live stream too on that.
This has to be Zach's Christmas time between two big wrestling matches back to back.
He's just so happy.
Yeah, he's in a different mindset right now. He's got to be so thrilled.
He's locked in.
He's probably gonna be doing a trendy hip hop dance or whatever he calls it.
He's actually be dabbing on pressure row, I think.
Well, that's a sight to see for sure. I mean, we're getting down to the end of the wire with basketball.
Well, I thought you meant Zach dabbing.
Oh,
I agree on both counts.
That would be a sight to see too. Zach trying to dab, but I mean, we're getting down to the wire with basketball, and we're gonna have a sprint to the finish, which will be really exciting because I feel like we're in a very unique situation because of the snow, where we're gonna have a lot of games in a short amount of time, and these teams are going to be gunning it to the finish line.
There's no doubt.
We got a lot of teams playing 6 games in 8 days or something like that now to finish because the regular season has to end by February 3rd or 4th, whatever it is. So you have to get all your schedule in by then. Yeah. So there's not going to be a slow day the rest of the way besides tonight.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and no one's clinched the division yet. Everything's still there's still shares here and there, but everything's still open, and there's still a ton of our teams are in the hunt for districts too.
Exactly. It'll be a good time.
And then we got the league playoffs right after that. It's gonna be this is a very fun time for sure. And then we start warming up, and we get some spring sports going.
No doubt.
But definitely,
and the snow will be gone.
The snow will finally be gone.
A huge step forward.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, guys. We'll see you same time next week. Thanks for tuning in. Game Day, Game Time PA.
See ya.
First in York, first in sports. Your only local sports station. The News, it's Radio 1350, WOYK, York, Pennsylvania.